Well, there's so many iconic sound effects in Star Wars, but one of them is the famed Wilhelm Scream. And Jim, another chapter has been written in the history of the Wilhelm Scream as of recently.
Yeah, it's truly impressive. A discovery was made at USC in the archives, the very archives that Ben Burtt himself used to prowl around in. They found a recording of the original Wilhelm Scream recording session. That it's just amazing that this thing still exists. It comes from a movie called Distant Drums, which was filmed in 1951. So the recording session for this particular moment was recorded probably.
This would have been the ADR session for this film, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
They were doing ADR as early as 1951. They certainly were. Distant Drums is one that had a legendary recording session because that's where the famous Wilhelm Scream came from. Jason, remind us what the Wilhelm Scream sounds like.
There it is.
The classic that we've been hearing in everything from TV to film to commercials to video games and beyond. The Wilhelm Scream was really made popular by Ben Burtt, but we'll get into that in a minute. Right now, the amazing thing is the Wilhelm Scream exists. Before we hear it, can we take a look at a clip?
Should we?
I gave you the clip of the very first Wilhelm Scream ever. It's from the film Distant Drums, 1951. This comes from a scene where some U.S. soldiers are walking through a swamp, and one of them gets bitten and dragged underwater by an alligator. And that's where the Wilhelm Scream comes from. So here it is, the very first Wilhelm Scream, 1951's Distant Drums. The soldiers walking through the water.
He's carrying that dame there. Oh, here's the alligator.
Gator underwater. Here's Wilhelm.
Oh, he's fighting the gator. He's putting up a good fight. I don't think it's going to go in the soldier's favor.
No.
Death roll.
The gator has engaged in the death roll.
Oh, no. Now there's more gators, and they're all...
Other gators are feasting on the corpse.
Oh, and then of course
so there it is. That's Wilhelm.
Yeah, the lady puts her hands up to her cheeks. Oh, she recoils in horror. So that's where it all started. So that's where people.
That's where it all began.
Actually, heard it for the very first time. But what makes this story so fascinating is they actually uncovered the actual audio session where the actor, because it wasn't the guy from the movie, was it? That was playing Sergeant Wilhelm?
I believe so, yes.
It is? Oh my gosh, okay.
That is the same actor, yes, whose name escapes me right now.
Because that's where it got its name, was the character in the film, the 1951 film, is Wilhelm. That's his name. So
that's Wilhelm.
Became the Wilhelm.
He can be heard. They call him that in dialogue. Come on, keep up with us, Wilhelm. poor Wilhelm. And it's important to us as Star Wars fans because, of course, Ben Burtt placed a Wilhelm Scream in each movie of the original trilogy. It was all over Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then it's just been this recurring theme throughout the history.
It's like an audio meme, you might call it, in a way. Right? An audio meme. Again, I was saying it's like an audio meme almost.
We have a video of the very first Wilhelm Scream in Star Wars. And so this happens in A New Hope during the laser battle right before Luke and Leia swing across the chasm in the Death Star. And so a trooper takes a blaster roll.
There it is.
And it's so distinctive, it jumps out at you. As a kid, you knew that was the Stormtrooper scream.
Yes, that's exactly what I always called it in my head. I never heard Wilhelm Scream until, many, many years later. I thought it was the stormtrooper scream, or the stormtrooper yell.
So Burtt started to slot it into films he was working on, and other sound designers started doing the same thing. And it was kind of just like an inside joke among them. A veteran audio engineer named Craig Smith, who is a graduate of USC's School of Cinematic Arts, is restoring a lot of audio that is in the USC archive. The same archive Ben Burtt found the Wilhelm Scream all those years ago. And so he published a recording of the Wilhelm Scream via a post on the Free Sound blog. I know you subscribe to the Free Sound blog.
Are you kidding me? I check it every morning. Every morning. Yeah.
So, but I mean, he's doing all of this as a work of preservation. He's been working on the library of tapes that have been sitting at the USC Cinema School for decades. I guess they were originally transferred there in the early 90s. And before that, they were available. Ben Burtt had access to it wherever he was working. He was at USC. So,
Well,
I mean,
wait, I
obviously,
got a
and he
question.
started doing it in student films.
Not-
Is when he started actually doing it.
Not to put you, well, that was my question. Not to put you on the spot, but so it shows up in this 1951 film, and then Ben Burtt finds it. Did it appear in anything between the 1951 film,
Yes,
and Star Wars? Was it something that they kept using over and over in Hollywood?
Yes, and Ben would hear it.
Oh, okay.
And so he knew. He's like, they keep using this thing. There's a film called Charge at Feather River, which came out a few years after Distant Drums. Okay. And it's featured kind of prominently in that. That's the one where the guy takes the arrow into the leg as he's riding a horse.
And that's where they fire off.
The Wilhelm. Yes. What was that? Okay, that's a different Wilhelm.
I hit the wrong button.
What, you hit the Beavis and Butthead button?
All right. That was I don't know what that was.
Always a lot of laughs here with Swank behind the control board. So let's get to it. Let's get to the meat.
All right.
Let's get to the money here. This is the original recording session from the USC archive, now being presented to you here digitally via Rebel Force Radio. It is the original 1951 recording session for the Wilhelm Scream. Take it away.
A man getting bit by an alligator and he screams.
Okay, quiet. Sit down,
I love the slate.
Okay, right here. The first one you did up here was much better.
Go
No, not an owl. A real scream of pain.
There it is.
There it is. Oh.
All right, yeah, at the end he sort of ran out of gas. But that's it. That's the original Wilhelm Scream.
That's even better than I imagined. I had not listened to this before the show. I love that there are now outtakes. There are outtakes for the Wilhelm Scream. It's incredible.
Yes. I love the slate from the producer at the beginning. He's like, man gets bitten by an alligator. Right. And then he's running through his different screams of pain. And the director says, no, it's not an owl. It's can we hear it one more time?
Yeah, let's do it. This is priceless.
A man getting bit by an alligator and he screams.
Okay,
He screams.
Sit down, short me. Okay, right here. The first one you did up here was much better. No, not an owl. A real scream of pain.
Yeah, that's good. All right, get out of here, kid.
I can't even do it. The guy, he's got amazing pitch. I'll tell you what.
Man gets bitten by an alligator on the screen.
Yeah, you just the grizzled ADR guy there sitting there with his cigarette in his mouth. You just know. This guy.
You know that whole room it smelled like nothing but coffee and cigarettes and polyester. That's all you smelled in that room. Man gets bitten by an alligator on a screen.
No, it's not an owl. What? You never been bitten by an alligator? It's not an owl. It's a scream.
Yeah, come on, you chucklehead. Don't you know what it sounds like to get bitten by an alligator? That's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like. I talked to Ben Burtt about this years ago. This is right when the Wilhelm Scream was starting to become a thing. And I talked to Ben Burtt. This probably dates back to around 2011. And here's me and Ben Burtt, the master. I was thrilled to be within the presence of my idol, Ben Burtt. Look at this. I have his picture up here on my studio wall. I just pulled it off the wall.
Oh, look at that.
Ben Burtt.
To Jimmy Mack. May the force of sound be with you.
Yes,
love it,
baby. And there he is with R2, because of course Ben created the voice of R2 with a synthesizer that had a microphone hooked up to it, and it's still in his studio at Skywalker Ranch. And I went there once and I played with it. There it is, right behind him.
Right there. There it is.
And see, he's got little sticker dots on there for the settings to mark them for R2. And when I was there, there was a piece of paper with Scotch tape over the right side, like covering up the
wait a minute, you got to play on that thing and make various R2 sounds?
I even used the microphone and did that. I did it all, man.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that was really cool. And in Ben's studio, he has a glass case, and it has just like valuable things to him, like that arrow he's holding. That means something. And he has the scuba regulator that he used to create the Darth Vader breath. It's in this like trophy case. Yeah, wow. I mean, what a thrill. I was very blessed to have that rare opportunity to hang out in Ben's studio a couple of times, actually.
Incredible.
But so here I'm talking to Ben, the man himself, about the Wilhelm Scream.
It's an inside joke that's now become public folklore.
Absolutely.
When I was growing up, I noticed this scream that repeated itself in many different films. And it was obviously a library effect of someone screaming that got its use over and over again. And it was just a kind of a pet peeve of mine to recognize this sort of thing. When I was at USC Film School, another student and I, Richard Anderson, and in fact a third fellow named Rick Mitchell, we all recognized that we had all heard that scream growing up, and we all saw that it was in a movie called Charge at Feather River, a Western, in which a character named Wilhelm emits that scream when he gets shot with an arrow.
Yeah.
So
you can see the clip of that on YouTube.
Yeah, we called it the Wilhelm Scream, or the Wilhelm, amongst ourselves, and we put it in our student film. And then later, when Richard Anderson and I became separate, became sound editors in the film industry, we started putting it in movies just as a one-upsmanship.
Right.
I put it in Star Wars. Richard would put it in Poltergeist. We both worked on Raiders, and we put it in Raiders of the Lost Ark. It became an in-joke between Richard and I for 25 years. No one paid any attention until, I suppose, the internet came along. You had enough people recognizing the sound that could talk to each other that it became, we were exposed.
Yeah.
And the joke was no longer an in-joke. It had come out of the closet, so to speak.
Exactly.
And so now we know it's proliferated beyond my control into TV shows and commercials and video games.
Name it.
And
you name it.
I hear it all the time. So it got out of control. Yep. It belongs to the, it's in public domain basically now.
Yeah, right. So it's out of control.
It is out of control.
Yeah.
It's just like...
Do you wish you could take it back?
No, it's okay. I don't use it. I try not to put it in anymore because I feel like it's sustaining on its own. But it is sort of the original thing that went viral. Long before anything else went viral, the Wilhelm was the first bit of digital media to go viral. I
True.
can claim that.
You know, someone wrote a tribute song to the Wilhelm Scream called "That Calls for Wilhelm Scream."
I've
Have you
heard
heard
it.
it? You have heard it. Yeah.
I've heard the song. I've seen T-shirts. I've gotten calls, letters, as if I created it. I didn't. It's an old sound effect from Distant Drums with Gary Cooper, 1950.
There it is. He got the name of the movie right there at the end because at first he attributes it to that Feather River or whatever it was.
Feather River.
Yeah, and then
maybe that's
at
where
the
he
end
first-
he realizes that it was Distant Drums.
Yeah, but I think he was just acknowledging them both because both of them do sort of claim ownership. But Distant Drums is the one that was the first, and it was the recording session specifically.
It's proved now
for Distant Drums.
Yeah,
that piece of audio magic happened. Of course, Ben Burtt's heir apparent to Skywalker sound and the sounds of Star Wars is Matthew Wood, who's always been a friend of ours here on the show. And me and him talked about the Wilhelm Scream. I say it wasn't used, and I can't recall what the actual production is that I'm talking about. It could have been Red Tails, because I think this interview goes back to like 2008 or something. But we do talk about the Wilhelm Scream in this interview.
Something I did notice is I didn't hear the infamous Wilhelm Scream.
Right. Yeah, I think you might want to talk to Ben about that one, but he might be retiring it.
Yeah,
we'll see. I mean, it's out everywhere. I mean, everyone's got it. It's in every movie, and
it's been getting a lot of attention lately.
Yeah.
Where before it was just kind of a industry inside joke.
Not anymore.
No, now it's all out there, and so the fun's probably over with that one. Huh?
Maybe that might. Yeah, Ben. Well, there's another Scream that's going to be on the horizon here that we'll see. We're not ready to talk about yet.
Okay, but it is like another old from a vintage film or something?
Yeah, it's from something that it will be funny, but I'm not gonna.
Oh, you're such a tease.
I'm a tease. Yeah,
you're a tease.
Yeah.
Well,
it's
we'll be
in Indiana
listening.
Jones and the Crystal Skull. But,
okay, that's all you're gonna say because you want to keep having fun with this one, right?
Yeah.
So there's like a new Wilhelm Scream out
I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna be quoted saying that. But you're gonna have to talk to Ben about that one.
Yeah, this was a mystery. I can't remember if this was this ever solved because
no,
it wasn't solved because it was supposed to have.
Some people claim to have solved it. But I don't know.
Because Jim, it started in Crystal Skull, and then it was in some of the was it in the sequel, Star Wars sequel films that it was supposed to have shown up?
Solo,
that's right.
So
is this really where the grudge with Solo originates? Is it all about this?
It might have it might have something to do with it. Might have something to do with it. I have a list a mile long of grudges with Solo.
But I know that you combed through every second of the audio of that film many times in search of a match to any of the screams heard in Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull.
I couldn't find a solid match. Not one that was good enough for me. There is this one scream. It happens when the ants are attacking the Nazis in Crystal Skull, and it happens in the speeder chase at the beginning of Solo when they're driving through that industrial area, and they're like workers diving out of the way, and stormtroopers. There's a scream there, but I've compared the two of them, and it didn't pass the test enough for me. And I even played with the pitches and everything. So I don't know, man. Some people claim they've discovered it, but their evidence didn't pass my sniff test. So it's still a mystery to me. And I'm kind of fatigued 15 years later now. Still thinking about this stupid sound. I'll break the code really one of these days.
I mean, to get the original audio from that ADR session with the actor and that director just makes it all worth the price of admission, right? Coaching, you can actually hear the direction that informed the Wilhelm Scream. I mean, that doesn't get much better than that. That's amazing. Amazing piece of film
Well, you know what? Can we hear the Wilhelm Scream one more time?
Absolutely.
Rebel Force Radio.